To enter cat foot stance 2, you press back 3+4, and just like the first video I made on this, I'm probably going to refer to this as CFS or CFS2. Same thing with pouncing tiger, stalking wolf, I'll probably say PT or SW. It's just too many words, I'm going to shorten it. Also, like CFS1, when you enter into cat foot stance 2, you can't block, so keep that in mind. You do have a built-in defense that if you press back, she does this little jump back evasive move. And this is much better than I originally thought, honestly. I've seen a lot of people get caught with the back into the 1, and by that I mean if you press back 3+4 and you press back, you jump away, and if you press 1, no, I think it's 2, I'm sorry, if you press 2 right after that, you will do an unblockable attack, and it's pretty fast. It catches a lot of people, and I'm showing you right here that it also wall splats. So if you're by the wall, and a lot of people freak out by the wall, you'd be surprised how easy this might be to set up in a lot of situations. And the wall splatting combo is pretty easy to do with her, I believe it's her I-14 frame string or something like that. And if you press back 3+4 and then 4, you transition to her pouncing tiger, stalking wolf stance. And just like CFS1, you can delay the entry of this stance. You can enter it really fast or delay it. Unlike CFS1 though, if you press back 3+4 and then immediately hold forward, you will transition into this stance, which I think is really cool. Because in CFS1, the way it worked is if you press 3+4 and you enter CFS1 and you hold forward, you won't transition to heaven and earth. You have to release forward and then press forward. So I don't know, it might not mean anything, but I like the fact that you can just hold forward and just immediately transition to it. That's just me though. Unlike CFS1, where you had, until you hit rage anyway, you had one primary attack to enter the CFS1 stance. CFS2, you have multiple offensive options to enter the stance with, and I think that's actually really cool. The first one I'm showing you here is 1-2-2, which is a high mid attack that comes out in 10 frames, -10 on block, +8 on hit and counter hit. Yes, this is unsafe on block at -10, so not too bad. But if you're playing an opponent with a very good 10 frame Punisher, you need to be very careful, okay? Because it may not be worth it unless you're doing this completely as a block Punisher. It is a natural combo. So yes, this is your 10 frame block Punisher, which that's really good. Just like CFS1, if you land this attack, you are forced to enter into CFS2. You do not have an option here, okay? You can't cancel or anything like that. Any offensive option that you land on hit that will take into CFS2 is a forced basically process. Okay, you can't cancel it. You will enter CFS2, period. Good thing about that is that for the most part, then you will probably enter, just like CFS1, you will probably enter CFS2 always with plus frames. Something else that I think is pretty nice is that she does have 1-2-4, which gives you kind of a mix-up ender there, because the 4 is a low, and that gives you plus frames on hit. And if you land it on counter hit, you do get a knockdown. Down forward 2 is a mid attack, and this is probably my favorite attack to enter CFS2 with. It comes out at I-15. It is -6 on block, +12 on hit, and on counter hit you get a knockdown. So -6 on block, completely safe on block, first reason I love it. +12 on hit, oh, so nice. Better than the +8 from 1-2-2, just really nice frames on hit right there to enter CFS2 with. And on counter hit, as I said, you do get a knockdown. I typically follow up with the 1 attack out of CFS2 to get my follow-up damage right there. I don't know if there are better options here. I haven't labbed that, but CFS, the one coming out of CFS2 is pretty nice. If you land down for 2 on counter hit, you do get a wall splat. You can't do your typical wall splat ender because again, you're in CFS2. So I typically do the CFS 2-3-1 right there. And the range is really nice for this move. It kind of helps make up with the fact that it is I-15, which is a slower mid attack. If you're good at spacing your opponent out, you should be able to land this pretty smoothly from the range it is. As long as you don't whiff, you are safe on block. Don't forget that. The last attack to enter CFS2 is up forward 4, which comes out at I-15, -13 on block, and launches on hit and counter hit. This isn't really like 1-2-2 or down forward 2, where you're trying to basically set up a way to enter CFS2 with some form of pressure to keep your stance pressure attacks going. No, this is really just your I-15 frame launch Punisher, and it just so happens to enter into CFS2, which you continue for your combo path. CFS1 is a mid attack that comes out in 20 frames, -9 on block, knockdown on hit, and knockdown pop-up on counter hit. So safe on block, you get the knockdown on hit, and if you land this on counter, it's very similar to down forward 2 on counter hit, where your opponent hits the ground and their legs pop up. And I like to try to apply, up forward 3 for my Oki pressure right there. Most of the time, at least the little times I played her, that actually lands. If you land this by the wall, it also wall splats. Something else to keep in mind is that if you land down forward 2 and enter to CFS stance from there and then do CFS 1, it is uninterruptible. CFS 231 is a high mid string that comes out in I-14, so pretty fast. -7 on block and knocks down on hit and counter hit. -7 on block, very good right there. Something I do want to mention that I think is amazing about the string is the fact that every single attack in the string is safe on block, not just the last attack. So if you choose to stop at any point, you are safe on block. You will probably also have mental frames to work with. This knocks down on hit, as I said before, and this is also your wall bounce. So landing the last hit will wall bounce your opponent. So safe on block, wall bounce string right there, really good. And since the last attack is an elbow, most characters in the game will not be able to reverse or parry this. This is not a natural combo, and it shouldn't be a natural combo. This is not a natural combo on counter hit, and again, it shouldn't be a natural combo on counter hit. For you to land this naturally, the second hit has to be NCC. So the second hit on counter hit has to land, and then the rest of the attack will come out, or the third hit will land naturally. This is the first attack is a high. I'm not saying this is high, but the first attack is a high, and you have to be concerned about your opponent ducking and punishing you. Moving on to CFS 3, which is a high attack that comes out in 13 frames. So the fastest attack out of your stance. -4 on block, really nice frames on block. You get to move around, backdash afterwards, do whatever you want. +11 on hit, ballerina spin. I love moves that have the +11 ballerina spin. You have so many frames to work with, which is probably why so many people were upset that Fahkumram had this is a 10 frame punish on top of having a good 12 frame, 13, 14. Okay, anyway, this is not about Fahkumram. But anyway, +11 ballerina spin, very, very nice. Of course, because of ballerina spins, you get the wall splat, which is good as well. This is a counter hit launcher, just adding more depth and coolness to this move. It also tail spins. Of course, this is a high. It better be a high. Everything I just said, if this was a mid, yeah, it'd be a problem. This should not be a mid. This should be a high. So you do have to be concerned about people ducking and launching you. CFS 44 is a low mid string that comes out at I-19, -14 on block, and knocks down on hit and counter hit. I think this is kind of cool because for CFS 1 stance, you didn't have any lows, it was just highs and mids. So I think it's kind of cool to have like a 50-50 here. The first attack, the low, is -26 on block, so it is stagger block, and you can get delay hop kick for like max damage. And if you whiff the first one and land the second one, that is -14 on block. So you can still be punished pretty hard for it. So, you know, try to land this attack. It is a natural combo, and that's really good, but something I think is kind of weird, or maybe, you know, they're just doing this for balancing purposes. She doesn't get any Oki off of this. It's just like her version of a hell sweep, and she hits the person and they kind of slide away from you. So, you know, it is what it is. And I'm showing you here that this move does tech crouch, means it goes under highs, and that's always nice when you have an attack that has some built-in defense with the move when it's attacking. The last attack in her cat foot stance 2 is her CFS 1+2, which is a mid attack that comes on I-17. This is -10 on block, so unsafe on block. Don't forget that, because I know she's safe on so many things. It knocks your opponent pretty far away out in the open, so I don't like that because she's kind of like an up close pressure character. It does wall splat, which is nice, although again you have safe on block moves that wall splat. And on counter hit, you do get the knockdown pop up for some, like, you know, continued Oki pressure. Okay, we are moving on to the Pouncing Tiger Stalk Wolf stance, but before that, I do want to clarify, same thing I did in my Catfoot Stance 1 video. When you transition from Catfoot Stance 2 into the PTSW stance, basically you press forward when you're in Catfoot Stance 2, or you hold forward, you are losing your plus frames, okay? So for example, 122 Station 2 CFS 2 with, I believe, again +8. When you transition into the PTSW stance, I think you're like -9 or -11 or something like that. So remember, you need to be conditioning your opponents to not press buttons before you transition to that stance. PTSW1 is a mid attack that comes out at I-22 +6 on block and knocks down on hit and counter hit. This move is so cool to me. +6 for a mid. And the range, oh my gosh. Anyway, if you land this on normal hit, it's 30 damage, which is pretty good. But if you land this on clean hit, basically the closer you are, it is 45 damage. Like, it's like a mini version of like Paul's Death Fist. So I don't know, I think this move is a really cool move. I'm really happy to give it to her. This move wall splats, and again on clean hit, some really good damage. Look at that, 65. And again, the range. This move has such a good range. It's crazy range to me. But yeah, I don't know, it's a good move, I like it. PTSW2 is another mid attack that comes out at I-15, -7 on block, knocks down on hit and counter hit. Now on block, this move has some pretty decent pushback that you may actually be able to set up cases with people who pressing a lot of buttons to basically do the pushback and then maybe backdash and then like whiff punish them for trying to punish you. On hit, this just knocks down on hit, but it knocks your opponent away. And again, I said this before, I don't really like that. I mean, if you want to play the distance game, that's cool too. This move, for the most part, from everything I've seen, is mostly used as a combo filler for your combo paths. PTSW31 is a mid string that comes out in I-17, -6 on block, +9 on hit, and knocks down on counter hit. Honestly, another really good string for the most part. I mean, -6 on block, completely safe on block. If you land this on hit, it is a natural combo. +9 on hit, really good plus frame on hit to keep your pressure going. Not as good as the ballerina spin, but hey, still really nice frames. And if you land this on counter hit, they do like the crumple stun fall down, like +50 frames. So plenty of time to run up and apply some really good Oki pressure there. PTSW4 is a low attack that comes out in 20 frames. So you have another low attack here, which is pretty nice. You got another 50-50 mix up. It is -12 on block, so unsafe on block. Not too unsafe though, but still unsafe on block. It knocks down on hit. You kind of right on top of your, well, actually, it depends on how your opponent gets up before I say that. And it's a counter hit launcher. So for the most part, I think this is a pretty nice low, especially to only be -12 on block, but it is locked behind 2 stances. When you're in rage, you do get an extension to this attack. So now PTSW4 becomes PTSW42 when you're in rage and you have a mid extension. And just like PTSW4, this is -12 on block. So both attacks are -12 on block. You just get a little bit of mental frames here because people know in rage you may have a second attack, but it is punishable. And if you land this on hit, you do spike your opponent and you can get a guaranteed down to follow up. And that brings this Tekken 7 Lydia beginner's guide to an end, or Tekken 7 Lydia character breakdown on her Catfoot stance to an end. Anyway, whatever. You guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed this content. It was a lot of fun making. I didn't get a lot of sleep over the last few days, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you guys like the content, please consider liking and subscribing. All support, as always, is greatly appreciated. Please consider going to my Instagram and check me out over there if you like Tekken, Dead by Daylight, and Mortal Kombat. Got a lot of good artwork, posts, and things up there. So if you guys like that, go check me out and follow me on Instagram. This is Acid Light. You guys take care.